So I'm not the biggest 4K fan, honestly. I only buy movies that are in 4K that I really like, okay? Because honestly, some of the 4K releases that I've seen aren't really that impressive. I don't know, maybe it's my TV, and I did get a 4K TV, but I feel like the quality still should be a tad bit better for the price that I'm paying for. That being said, some movies definitely need an upgrade, and then some movies, really need an upgrade that I really like. I actually wrote out a list I actually wrote out a list on movies that I think should deserve a 4K. This is my personal opinion, and some that I probably missed. Oh shoot, I just thought of one right now. Okay. First off, Avatar from 2009. The visual effects alone will look spectacular on 4K. That'd probably even look better than the Blu-ray. Batman 1966 with Adam West. Just because it would nice to see the goofy Batman in 4K. Phantasm 1 and 2, the underrated horror movies from 1979 and 1988. Those deserve an upgrade, even though the Blu-rays of them are fantastic. Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, it's a horror classic. Why hasn't it gotten it? Oh, wait, Warner Brothers is having an issue. Apparently, they were going to do a Shout Factory collection, but Warner Brothers is like, it's not an active series or something. It was something like that, and it's kind of stupid, but Nightmare on Elm Street definitely deserves it. It's one of the best horror movies ever made. I mean, I wouldn't mind having the Shout Factory regular Blu-ray remastered because the set that they had wasn't really that great. But it's still a better version than the DVDs on the picture quality, but everything else, no. But I feel like Elm Street definitely deserves a 4K treatment because Freddy Krueger is an iconic horror movie character. I mean, Friday the 13th got one, Evil Dead got one, Halloween's got one. A lot of these other obscured horror movies have gotten 4K releases and not Elm Street, and that's not fair to me. Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. My favorite Tarantino movie, period. All his other films, I think, got all 4K releases, I think, except for maybe Hateful Eight and maybe Death Proof. I'm not a huge fan of Death Proof, but definitely Kill Bill deserves a 4K treatment. Don't get me wrong, the regular Blu-rays look fantastic, but would look even better. One of the big ones I would love to see because there's so much grain. I'm not a huge fan of grain. Ninja Turtles trilogy, particularly the first two. I can just imagine how great the first two movies would look in 4K. Those costumes and everything and the action and the lighting. It would be amazing. Natural Born Killers. One of my underrated movies that, one of my favorite movies from 1994. And speaking of 1994, my second favorite movie of all time does not have a 4K release, The Crow. If you know me, I love this movie a lot, The Crow. That definitely should have the 4K treatment. And then another movie that is considered one of the greatest movies of all time that does not have a 4K release is Fight Club. The first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. that movie definitely deserves a 4K treatment. Enter the Dragon, that's a Bruce Lee classic. That should be on there. Nightmare Before Christmas, even though it probably doesn't need it, a 4K release, because usually stop animation or animated movies don't really need the 4K treatment. Aliens does not have a 4K treatment. I think the first one does, but Aliens, one of the best sequels to a sci-fi movie, does not have a 4K release. Kung Fu Hustle, a kung fu movie that should have more attention, because I remember when it came out and I was blown away by the goofiness and the action scenes. Everybody who likes kung fu movies and likes comedy should definitely see that one. One that's also very surprising, I think they are eventually going to make it though, is The Exorcist. The Exorcist should have a 4K release. Brain Dead, aka Dead Alive. Peter Jackson, zombie movie, funny as hell movie, and they had a Blu-ray release, but it went out of print and it's so expensive and insanely expensive to the point where I was just like, forget it. You might as well just get regular DVD, and even the DVD is like $34. But I would love to see that in 4K. Superman 2, because Superman 1 from 1978 had a 4K release. Might as well get Superman 2, one of the best superhero sequels, in my opinion. Sin City surprisingly does not have a 4K, and that movie is criminally underrated, even though the ratings are high, but it doesn't get enough attention, in my opinion, that from comic book fans. And 1990s It, because It, that one with Tim Curry does not have a 4K release. The two remakes do, and the 1991, no, though it's not perfect, is still a classic. And the one that I had wrote down in the beginning of the video was Godzilla. Godzilla should have a 4K release, the original 1954, and I just remembered one other one, King Kong from 1933. That also should have a 4K release, because those are classic movies, classic horror movies. Some people might not consider those ones horror, but they are. Those are the movies that I think that should have a 4K release.